2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay. Edie responds by cranking the tunes up to the max. Essie felt then that he was inside a huge aquarium with strange docile sharks and other sea life floating all around him. He could see Nada laying back against the pillows at the head of the bed, cat-like, with that velvety brown skin. He saw a white shirt lift into the air, and the light of the ceiling bulb shine through it. The music and the rushing of blood in his own aggravated ears was as deafening as the sea. There was a new loud bang then, much harsher and more intense than before. "Open up! It's police!" Gina, "Oh shit." Then all the lights went on in the aquarium. Gina quickly unplugged the speakers. Essie's ears were ringing with confusion. Everything was so silent and real. He could hear the cops knocking from the other side of the door. "Open up!" Vicky pulled his wig down off his head, squeezing it tight in his fingers. He was petrified with fear. Gina mouths to them, "Don't talk." She turns off all the lights. It was totally dark. Essie blinked in the darkness. He felt like he could hear all the others breathing in the dark, but maybe it was only his imagination. He wasn't sure. He thought he heard a shaky breath. That sounds like the boy, he thought, but he wasn't sure. He reached out to the side in the darkness to try and feel if Bagel was there, but his hand closed on empty air. I hope everyone knows how to behave themselves. Then time skip. The next morning, the sunlight is showing through the closed blinds a little bit, glowing around the edges. But it's hard to tell if it's morning or afternoon. All of our fans are strewn around the room passed out. Gina gets up groggily from the floor. Her hair is all fucked up and asymmetrically ridiculous and frizzy. She kind of tries to straighten herself up, which is bullshit because frizziness and that type of shit only happens if you go to sleep with wet hair. So if you go to sleep dirty and you don't shower, your hair is actually usually fine in the morning. It's just like natural grease and stuff. And it usually actually looks better than if you went to sleep with wet hair. So, whatever. As she wanders into the bathroom, she finds a light on and the shower running. Gina, "Hey, who's in there?" No response. She creeps over cautiously and yanks back the curtain. Nobody to be seen. Gina mutters to herself, "Wasting water and shit." With a shrug, she closes the door and throws off all her clothes, stepping into the shower. I see what's gonna happen. She starts humming Starboy as she soaks her hair. Cutter, snarkily. "Well, I had no idea we was so close already." Gina jumps out of her skin, in parentheses practically, and flails out of the shower, tripping over her own pants and almost hitting her head on the sink, but catches herself just in time. "Gina, you fucking asshole. What's wrong with you?" Cutter just laughs and laughs. Cutter, "Hey, sweet cakes, you got in the shower with me." That's true, she didn't even ask or check. But he didn't say anything, so they're kind of both at fault. Gina, standing up and wrapping a towel around herself. "My cakes are not sweet." "I called and you didn't answer." "Yeah, okay." "No clothes on the floor, no indication." "So you let it happen." Cutter, blaming the victim, I see. Gina glares. She gathers up all her clothes and then snatches every other towel in the room besides her own. That's asshole-ish. She throws them in the sink and turns the water on full blast. Oh, that was an asshole. Cutter, "Hey." Gina, angrily, "Have a great shower." She goes out and slams the door behind her. Out in the main part of the room, everyone else is waking up and getting ready to go. Essie shakes out his hat and puts it on, kind of hungover from the whole last night's experience. He looks over and sees then someone under the bed with only their shoes peeking out. Essie, "Who's under there?" A long silence, no answer. Essie gets up and kicks the shoe lightly. "Essie, is that you, Vic?" Vicky, in small, whispery voice. "No, or, well, rather, yes, but I'm not coming out. Ever again. I'm staying under here for the rest of my life." Essie, "What the hell? That's a bunch of crazy talk. Come out of there." Vicky, with voice cracking slightly. "I am so ashamed of myself. Fox was right. I should have never come along." Oh, right, there was a part, which I guess is the part that's fucking missing, where, they all tried to leave without Vicky, and Fox tried to, prevent him from coming, because he thought he was, a loser or whatever, and then, but then Vicky came anyway, I guess, somehow, and then, basically they went to a gas station, a bunch of gangbangers were hanging out and gave him shit, and then none of them could do anything about it. They couldn't get gas because the gangbangers were, preventing them from getting gas. They were, throwing a party at the gas station and, blocking all the pumps, I guess, or whatever. And, but then Vicky showed up and turned into Edie, And then Edie was so fucking badass that she, like, you know, fucking, like, did her shit on all the, like, gangbangers, and then they liked her, I guess, and then they, like, gave them gas. I think that's what happened. So then it was, like, actually good that Edie/Vicky came. Anyways, whatever. Gina gets in on it then, now fully clothed again. Gina, what's up? That sucks when you think you're gonna have a nice shower and then you just have to put back on your dirty ass clothes and then you're like, fuck, I didn't get a shower. Vicky, after last night, I'm going home. I won't bear the shame of having Edie control me again. Gina, oh whatever, don't give me all that. Edie's cool, man. She helped us get out at the gas station, and she's fun. Vicky, and also almost got us arrested. She's too unpredictable. I can't trust her. Just then, Gina's bandmates and the two big biker dude roadies come in. Her bandmates are Heather, Thistle, and Borgo. Heather plays second guitar and wears a dominatrix-style rabbit mask which covers the top half of her face. Thistle plays bass and wears a plastic Halloween store scary rabbit mask. Borgo plays drums and wears a sack over her head with a droopy ghost bunny face on it. A noose around her neck keeps the sack on. All three of them wear long black robes. I thought it was long white robes, but okay. Gina, to the biker guys. Ranger, Pluto. Oh, those are good names, Ranger and Pluto. Get him out of here and in the van. They pull out Vicky from under the bed. Meanwhile, Cutter comes strolling along wearing a pair of faded jeans, a fedora kind of hat, and that's it. Bagel, wearing just a shirt and red/white checkered boxers. Hey, those are my pants. Cutter, oh, are they? Oh, that's funny that him and Bagel have the same, like, lower body type, I guess. Laughs. Haha, yuck, yuck, yuck. They seem to fit me rather well, though, as he poses with his legs. Bagel, give them back. You don't need pants. I do. That's true. Fox, on the other side of Cutter, with arms crossed. And while you're at it, you might give me back my hairbrush, thief. Cutter looks at him. What makes you think I've got any bloody brush of yours? In case you ain't noticed, I'm quite bald. Okay, that's it for that one. That's more other story. There's like 4 different stories in this fucking things. Okay. Just then, a loud, abrasive knock comes on the door. Everyone turns to look towards it as a voice comes through. Voice, hotel maintenance. Without even waiting a moment, the doorknob turns and a cleaning lady comes through. She stops and looks shocked to see them all there. Cleaning lady. You're supposed to be gone already. The hotel's gonna charge you for another day. Gina. We were just on our way out. Everyone runs out the door. Montage of the gang driving, singing along to Buck Cherry's Ridin' as it blasts on the speakers. They drive through the city and eventually enter a naturey area with trees on either side of the road. Essie, isn't the show supposed to be tonight? Gina, yeah, but that's not until, like, tonight. We have hella time. Essie, are we close? Gina, yeah, like 60 miles. Essie, 60 miles? Gina, relax, Gramps. We got all the time in the world. Essie, what about setup time? Rehearsal, traffic? Gina, relax, dude. Real rock and rollers don't worry about all that. She turns to Nada. Hey, dude, can I get a piece of that Girl Scout cookies? That was the kind of weed everybody was into. He passed her the reefer, lol. Who still says reefer anyway? Essie just sighs irritatedly and takes off his glasses to rub his nose. Oh, he was wearing glasses? Kind of forgot. At the forest. Further into the forested nature area, the van is parked along the side of the road and a river runs through a rocky bed not far from it. The day is apparently hot. Essie fans himself with his hat. Fox sprawls out to sleep across the back seats of the van as everyone else runs for the water. Bagel, I hope all the windows are rolled down because the car will get fucking stuffy. I should know because one of my fucking windows decided not to roll down anymore, my driver's side window. Just because I pulled off that, like, plasticky stuff that was on the window because it was, like, peeling off anyway. And I pulled it off because every time I tried to roll down the window, it would be like, it sounded horrible. So I pulled it off, and then I guess there was glue underneath, and then it, like, stopped rolling down. It really pissed me off. Anyway. Bagel pulls off his shirt as he's running and throws it. He tries to do the same with his pants, but he can't, so he's forced to stop by the riverbank and impatiently strip down to his boxers. See, he just got his pants back and he's taking them off again. Oh shit, my battery's running out. How much do I have? Oh, 1 hour it says. Okay, but probably less because I'm recording. Okay, only last 10 more minutes. Bagel pulls off his shirt as he's running and, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. Impatiently stripped down to his boxes before diving in, Planet of the Apes style. Gina. Praise nature. It's beautiful out here. She pulls off her t-shirt to reveal a naked torso with no bra. With her breasts in the foreground, we see Vicky in the background, and his eyes pop. He quickly tries to maintain his modesty by looking away. She dives into the river, cheering along with Bagel. It must be a deep river, not a shallow one. Essie comes up to the water's edge, fanning himself again with his hat. He sits down and takes off his boots and socks. He rolls up his pant legs above the ankle and puts his feet in the water, watching the others play and frolic. He leans back a little and takes out one of those little airplane bottles of booze. Only this time he actually savors it rather than gulps it down. Alright, let's do like Essie. He can see Vicky shyly perched on a rock in the middle of the water. Seeing that everyone else has taken off more than just their shoes, Essie says fuck it to himself. He checks in a top pocket of his fishing vest, making sure it's secure, and then takes off his vest and shirt, wearing an undershirt underneath. A tattoo of a roaring tiger can be seen on his upper arm. Pretty soon, Nada comes over. Nada, comfortable? Essie nods and motions with his bottle. Very. Nada sits next to him. He's nude, again, except for a lush blue scarf tied around his waist as a temporary skirt. He nods towards Essie's tattoo. Nada, is it real? Essie, of course it's real. He smiles. Yeah, you can tell when a tattoo's real. He smiles slightly, glancing sideways to Nada. My ex-wife used to call me Tiger. Nada. They both laugh together like a couple old geezers. Meanwhile, Gina. Hey, Cutter, give me back my towel. Cutter turns around. He is just a floating t-shirt and sun hat standing in the river. Cutter. What makes you think I've got your bloody towel? Gina. It wasn't a bloody towel, it was a clean towel, and I was going to use it to dry off. Oh yeah, this is revenge, I guess, for what she did to him. Cutter's t-shirt shifts like he's putting his hands on his hips and giving contrapasta attitude. Cutter. I've been here the whole time, and if I did try to take something, wouldn't you see it floating away on its own? Not exactly like I can hide it under my arm. Gina, don't try and use your twisty mind games on me, asshole. I know it was you. Once a street thug, always a street thug. Yeah, see, this is trying to, like, build suspicion of Cutter because of a later thing that was going to happen, but it never got to. Cutter gives her an exasperated scoff and turns to go the other way. Just then, their serene-ish moment in the water is startled by the muffled explosion of far-off gunshots. Everyone jumps at the sound and they look around. Vicky, nervous as usual. Maybe we should go. Bagel steps up. Don't worry about it. They're just hunting. They're so far away, they won't come near here. Besides, this stream ain't within hunting jurisdiction, so we're good. Everyone looks at him. Bagel, what? Gina, haha, she chuckles slightly and smiles. Check it out, the pup knows his shit. Bagel gets a little shy. I grew up in a hunting family when I was little. It's regular where I came from. Wow, that actually has more like weight now than it did back then, I feel like. A little bit later, Essie goes back to the naughty lass and opens the back to get a gallon of water so everyone can drink. ... non-booze. He sees Fox is still sleeping in one of the back seats. He looks chill, but Essie gets weirded out that he doesn't seem to be breathing. A couple flies crawl on Fox. Essie cautiously reaches out slowly as if to shake him awake, but before he reaches him, Fox stirs and shifts in his sleep, chasing the flies off. Essie rolls down a window and takes the water, shutting the back door of the van. As he turns around, Nada's standing there out of nowhere. Essie. Emoji. Heh, you startled me. Nada smiles. Sorry. Oh, Nada's there, okay. He sits on the back bumper of the van. Essie joins him and cracks open the water jug, which they share sips of. Nada. Have you seen that movie, The Sixth Sense? Essie. Sure, who hasn't? Nada. You know, I also have a sixth sense. Essie. Do you? Nada nods, smiling coyly. I'm psychic. Essie chuckles, playing along. Nada, should I prove it? Essie, go ahead. Nada puts 2 fingers on his forehead, pretending to be channeling supernatural powers. Nada, I see in a vision. Something in your top vest pocket. Essie looks a little surprised, then shrugs it off. You saw. Nada, coyly. Something precious. From your wife, maybe. Essie gives a small smile twitch like, nice try. Nada, or a child. Essie. Nada, a daughter, I think. Essie gives a look like, how did you know? Nada, smiling satisfiedly. I told you I'm psychic. Meanwhile, Bagel wanders a little away into the trees along the edge of the creek. Gina, don't go too far. Bagel looks off into the woods, where he hears distant gunshots and hounds barking. With slightly watering eyes, he howls quietly. Aww. So, the afternoon goes by and eventually everyone goes back to the van. When they get there, they see that Fox is awake in the passenger seat, reading The Scarlet Letter, and his hair is now cut in a pageboy style. Vicky, did you cut your hair? Fox doesn't look up. I was bored. Cutter, not half bad. He suddenly gets suspicious. Are you preparing for something? Fox, I have no idea what you mean. Gina, come on, let's go before we're late to the show. They all get in the van and drive off with cream blasting. Oh, right, this is what I read before. The naughty lass drives on down the vast highway. As we see the van drive along past towns, trees, and bends, we hear the character's voiceover. Essie, we're just going straight there, right? No more stops. Gina, yep, that's straight line all the way to the club. They drive past a sign that says Outlet Thrift Shopping, 5 miles. Okay, so I think all this is just notes. So yeah. So basically, after that, I know there's another part that I wrote, but it's back home. I don't know where it is. So basically, after that, I had a whole bunch more ideas, but I never wrote most of them down. But I'll just tell you because I'll probably never write them. So this is how the rest of the story was supposed to go. So basically, they go to the outlet mall, and you know when Fox just cut his hair into like a bob like this, right? They go to the outlet. They go to the fucking thrift store, and everyone's like shopping and shit like that because of course they have to stop at a thrift store, you know. And Fox is wearing that like pinstripe suit thingy, whatever, and he gets a change of clothes, which is like a white button-up shirt and black slacks, I think, and like gold slip-on shoes, which is the outfit that Uma Thurman's character wears in Pulp Fiction in the scene where they do like the little dance number and shit. So he's like, when Cutter said, "Are you setting up for something?" He's setting up for that. So basically, they all make it to the club, and then, like they park somewhere. They everybody gets out. They go to the club and they start the show basically, and then Gina's band, which is revealed to be named Bundle of Cysts, starts playing, and like they have they have pyrotechnics and shit, and like they're like really popular, like everyone's like yeah and stuff, and they're like a popular like local band or whatever, and so like then Essie finally gets to see him like in full form basically, and he gets to see like Gina's like side of like when she's doing something she's really good at and shit, she's like singing and everything's good, but Fox isn't there. Like basically everyone comes to the show except for Fox, and he's like suspiciously absent. And then during the show, they like burn an American flag, and SC gets really pissed because he's just like, how can you burn the flag? Like, you're not supposed to do that. It's bad form. And Gina's basically just like, fuck off. Like, this is our freedom. We can do whatever we want, And then, like, meanwhile, Fox because of him, the falling out, like, he used to be in Gina's band. And he used to be the front man. Because remember before, he used to be the front man. He used to be the singer and like the showman and everything. And she just used to be the lead guitarist. But after they got in a fight and he left, she became the front person, the front woman or whatever. So, anyway, he didn't want to show up. So he went to a different club and he was just dancing in his new outfit. And then he met like a John Travolta like stand-in guy basically. And then they started dancing together, and they reenacted that whole scene, except they were dancing to I Can't Feel My Face When I'm With You or whatever, and they were dancing to that, and they like did coke in the bathroom, of course, because that song, and then they were just dancing and shit, and he was absent from the show. And so then later They go back to this like motel room where they're at and stuff, and then they reenact the second scene from Almost Famous, which is like, when like basically like Fox is in the room and like Essie walks in. I guess everybody else is like doing, maybe Essie came back there because he's like mad about the flag burning or something and everyone else is partying, and he goes back there alone and he sees Fox is just like practically like passed out, and he has like a gramophone playing, and it's playing like this waltz music and stuff, like this creepy old waltz. And like and then he's like really fucking out of it, and he's just like, oh, let's dance, old man, let's dance. And then he like stands up, and like him and Essie start doing the waltz, but it's like a creepy like ghost waltz. And then it's like, just like an Almost Famous, like Fox starts like passing out like as they're dancing, and his feet are just like dragging on the floor and shit. And then Essie gets all like freaked out, but unlike Almost Famous, doesn't go down the dark road that movie goes. Fox is fine because, like he said, he's indestructible or whatever. But he just gets freaked out, and then everybody comes back because Fox is like fucking passed out, and then Essie finds like a whole shitload of, like, he turns over the couch cushions and it's just like all pill bottles and shit, and they're all empty. And then he thinks Fox is like gonna die. But then everybody else comes back and they're all just telling Essie, like, it's fine, it's fine. And he's just like, what do you mean it's fucking fine? How can he be fine? Like, he obviously is fucking overdosing in, like, the worst way, because this is, like, 1,000 pills right here, or whatever. And they're just like, he's fine. And then it turns out he is fine, but Essie's, like, really pissed, because he's like, I'm an old man. He's like, I'm like, I had friends that, like, really did OD, and they really did die, and shit like that, so get serious for a second. He's like, you guys don't understand, because you're young, and you think everything is, like, you don't take anything seriously, but, like, I've seen shit, I've seen my friends, like, we were in the real summer of love, and, like, we thought we were immortal back then, but we really weren't, and, like, people fucking died, and shit like that. And then, basically the next day, they fucking get their van stolen. The naughty lass gets fucking stolen, and so they have to, like, find it and get it back, and basically they find it, that it has become, like, whatchamacallit, like, it was taken to be a first prize in this, like, hunting competition, it's like a coon hunting competition, and like, and it's an all women's thing, so because they find the hunting competition, and it's like from where the red fern grows, it's like the raccoon hunting competition. And then, like, the winner gets the van, and they're, like, trying to get it back, but they're like, well, we, typical fucking cartoon logic, they're like, well, we just have to enter the contest and win. And, of course, like, Bagel is their obvious choice because he grew up in the hunting family and everything like that. And, like, he's like, he has to do it and get the van back for everybody so they can get to the next show. And then, like, but it's women only. It's like a women only competition, and so he enters the competition, but they dress him all up like a like a like a female, like a cowgirl, basically. And they're like, oh, he looks like Annie Oakley, so they start calling him Little Ann, basically. Oh, because he had a shotgun, that's why, because he was holding a shotgun or a rifle, whatever you use for raccoon hunting. And they're like, yeah, you look like a little Annie Oakley and stuff. And so they're like, yeah, we'll call him Little Ann. So he enters the competition as Little Ann. And then basically it's like, it's like an all outdoor competition. Like, you have to set up your own tent. Everything's outdoors. There's no, like, accommodations. You have to set up your own tent. You have to, like, it's like a camping, thing. And so he sets up his tent for the night and everything. And he's like, he walking through, like, the legion of women, and everyone's, like, really tough, and it's like he's walking through, like, it's like kind of like a new recruit walking through the army, like, barracks or whatever, and everybody feeling like everybody else is tougher than you, and shit, but he has to, like, be like, I'm woman, I am strong, and shit. And then like, yeah, so he sets up his tent for the night, and then but then, of course, these two asshole motherfuckers, like, break in. These two dudes come in the night. And whose tent do you think they picked to try and rape somebody? Of course, it's Bagel. So they, like, break into Bagel's tent. And they, like, pull him out. And they, like, try to rape him. But then in the middle of them like trying to rape him, then all of a sudden they get like the rapists get attacked by somebody else who like drives them off. And it's like this like older dude, like maybe 45-year-old man. And then he's named Old Dan. And he's like, yeah, my name is Dan. Like everyone calls me Old Dan, and stuff. And then of course him and Lil Ann hit it off, and they fall in love, and they have like this deep meaningful connection where they're like Cherry Bomb from John Mellencamp is playing over there, like montage of them like bonding and everything, and they get really really close, and they like, but then at the end it's like the I think everybody else just like they're like realize like, why do we have to play by the rules? So they like break into the competition and they just steal the naughty lass back after like some big fucking like heist shit or whatever. And then like um and then yeah, so then basically like Bagel has to leave and he has to leave Old Dan, and then they get really sad, and then they reenact that scene from Star Trek that everybody always fucking like parodies, where like Kirk is with that Lady Gaga looking lady, and he's like, Old Dan's like, you see that star out there, that's something or whatever, and then like Old Dan leaves, and then Bagel is standing there like in his Lil Ann outfit, and his like mascara, like his eyeliner running down his face, he's crying and shit, and he's like, I'll look to the stars and I'll remember you, or whatever that fucking speech, the whole fucking speech from Star Trek. I kind of forgot it now, but I used to have it memorized. But they did it in South Park and all that shit, so, Anyways, then Bagel leaves, and then he's crying in the van, and then, like, Essie's, like, hugging him and shit like that. And then everybody's, like, really sick of him crying, so Gina's like, oh, let me give him something, because it's supposed to sound, like, she says all the words that they say in dramas, like, as if she's gonna, like, drug him or whatever. She's like, let me give him something because I can't stand this noise or whatever. And then, but it turns out the thing she wants to give him is pacifier. She like sticks pacifier in his mouth, and then he starts sucking on it, and then he gets quiet. And then basically Essie has like an estranged daughter. Her name is Diana. Because in the third Indiana Jones movie, Sean Connery is like his father, and his name is Indiana. So in this one, it's Diana is his daughter. She's like a badass explorer and all this shit, but she's like estranged from her dad because like he disapproved of her, I guess, or whatever. And so now he's learning to be a father again, of course, with Bagel, and shit like that. And then they find like when the thing that Nada was just saying about like, oh, you have something in your pocket, like it's a picture of Diana that he always carries with him and stuff. So then he's like, then basically I've kind of forgot what happened. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other shit, but I kind of forgot. And then, oh yeah, the whole thing of like they're trying, like Cutter was like having suspicion raised about him that he was like stealing everybody's basically, and it turned out that like everybody thinks that he stole something from them because they're like, well, you used to be a thief anyway, like your whole job used to be a criminal, so of course you're stealing from all of us. But then in the end, it turns out that like actually Essie like was stealing from everyone because he's like a kleptomaniac. He didn't even, I mean, he knew he was stealing, but he kind of didn't acknowledge it, which is from this book Amandine, where everybody blames the stealing of like everybody in the middle school is being like having stuff stolen, and they all blame it on somebody else. But then in the end, it turns out it's a narrator. Like she was the klepto the whole time, but it's like she just kind of didn't like acknowledge it, or whatever. And in the end, she opens like this little shoebox under her bed or something, and everybody's like stolen shit is in there. So Essie does the same thing as that. He's like, he stole Fox's hairbrush. He stole, he just steals all this shit, from everybody, each person. But it's kind of like because he feels connected to them, it's almost kind of like, when a serial killer like takes tokens from their victims, but he does that, but not in a killer way, obviously. Like it's just because he finally feels like he has a group of friends that he didn't feel for so long, like he's been alone for so long. And like he finally felt like he had a group of friends again, and he just felt so connected to them, like he wanted to have a part of them each, like a token of friendship from each of them basically. And so that's why he stole, but it was like a secret. And then basically some other shit happened, probably I forgot. Basically they like wind up in this school bus going across the desert, because in the first Mspnomeruwef, that's one of the things that happened, which I nodded to in the very beginning of the story, where he was saying like, that's all I remember small visions, like a school bus going across the desert. And that's because in the original one that I wrote when I was 12, like part of the parody was that I parodied the characters from Girl Interrupted, but I decided not to do that for the remake because then I found out I used to think Girl Interrupted was all made up, but then I found out it was actually like somebody's memoirs, so I kind of felt weird about like using real people or whatever. But like in the original draft of the story, like all those girls from the movie, like they were in it, and it was basically like kind of like I forgot what movie that is or whatever, where basically all these prisoners or crazy people or something on the bus, and they like use their like handcuff things to like choke out the not nurses but nuns. I guess they're nurses too, nuns slash nurses that are in charge, and they like choke them out, and then fucking what is her name, Lisa, the one that fucking what's her face plays, Angelina Jolie, like she's in charge because of course she's the most like bad one, you know, and shit like that. And she like takes charge and shit, and then the other girl's always saying like chicken, 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 and stuff like that. And then and then yeah. Anyways, so it's like a not throwback to that. And then they're just like riding in this bus, which I think now is associated with desert bus because of AVGN and shit. But of course, this is like way before then. But anyways, they wind up all the way in fucking Coachella because you know in the beginning when they first met Fox and he was saying like, oh, all my roommates are gone right now because they're all at Coachella. And then they basically go to Coachella, they wind up there, and then they wind up taking the stage. Of course, Gina's band takes the stage, and then by this time her and Fox, I guess, have like they've kind of wanted to reconcile, but they haven't said it out loud. And so when she gets up there, and she's one of the songs she sings is sort of fairy tale, but it's like a heavy metal version of sort of fairy tale because I've just really wanted to hear that, but it doesn't exist. But like in my mind, it sounds really cool. But anyways, yeah, she sings sort of fairy tale, and like while she's singing it, she's like making eye contact with Fox like offset of the stage, like basically like I forgive you for everything that happened, and shit like that, and like and kind of talking about their relationship, like how it's like a sort of fairy tale between the two of them, because like all the like cliche things that they go through, but then also the non-cliche things that happen to them. So it's like a sort of fairy tale. And then like then what else happens? Diana is there, of course. So Essie gets to reconcile with Diana. And then, basically everybody just finds themselves at Coachella. I feel like I'm forgetting a bunch of shit. But, Coachella brings out all the goodness. Everybody just parties, and it's just like a soul invigorating moment, and everybody's like kind of finds nirvana. And that's it. And then everybody goes home. The end.